Welcome to Chaos Divided for your bonus dose of Wholesome Hammer. We're excited to continue our story from Bitz Unknown Part 1 and our trip to PlayOn Studio. And if you haven't listened to that yet, I'd recommend going back, but we're going to be kicking it right in with a quote. Now, Kaylee said we had to use my quote because when we were there, I said that was the most beautiful game of Warhammer I've ever seen. And it's still true.
Like, and this is including like what you've seen online?
Oh yeah.
That's a high caliber.
We can't spoil anything. We won't spoil anything.
No, we're not allowed to spoil, or else we'll be in court.
I don't want to get beaten up legally by Tack.
No. I'm sure he's got a big punch.
But I will say that the way the game was played, how it turned out, each turn, the level of skill and the caliber of play was top notch. It felt like what a top table at the end of like a major feels like. Like I was tense for like probably turn 3 onwards because I was like, I don't know where this is going. I don't know how it's going to turn out. Like I was so engaged. I was so invested that I was like stressing.
No stress.
How were you feeling? Because you were in it.
You were stressed.
Right?
I felt like I was like center stage and everybody was like with their arms crossed and it was just quiet. Just no pressure, guys. Just no pressure. And I felt how did I feel?
Let's maybe turn it back a bit. So Monday morning, I was up at like before the crack of dawn. But we headed into the studio. And you're like getting stuff ready. What were you thinking then?
I'm still like trying to remain myself calm. Still getting to know all the people coming in and going upstairs and setting up my models. I feel really good at that point because it feels normal. You just put your armies on display and let people look at them. And I think even Tycho came over, bent, looked at my army, and went, "Yes." That's all he had to say. And I was like, "Yes, yeah." And I think that's one of my now like favorite things that I appreciate is like being able to share my models with people and seeing their reactions. So that was kind of distracting me from what was gonna come about, and then it was ready to go and do the showdown. But I think the most nervous thing to do were the interviews. Like I had to watch Tanya first to see how it worked and what she would kind of say, because yes, you can do like a battle report, you can do like a game, but to be sitting on the side and to talk in the present tense and share your thoughts, I feel like I'm not that great at that. Like I get really nervous when I talk by myself and talk about the army because sometimes I just don't have an answer. Why are you doing this? I don't know. Why'd you bring this? I don't know. So that was the hardest part. But you just sit in the chair and you just gabber on like it and treat it natural and go forth and just play the game with respect and integrity.
Well, you definitely did that. That was it was an absolute joy to watch, and I'm so excited to see how the episode comes out.
There were a couple times there. Okay, so there were a couple reasons why I was so nervous, and that was I'll share one. Oh my god, I just like was so distraught, and it's in the grand scheme of things, it's absolutely nothing. But it was a couple days before, and I started to grow pimples on my face. And like a week before, I was like, oh, my face feels really clear. I'm really happy about that. But then, of course, a couple days before, I just feel like this growth on the side of my face. So I was actually kind of nervous with that. Like yeah, nobody wants to go on high-end cameras with their face breaking out. But you know what? Like I had to push all those insecurities aside and just move forward. And there's nothing I could do about it. Like my hormones just decided, you know what? You're nervous. You're kind of stressed. Let's just fill this out. So I had a lot of nerves about that, but nothing you can do. And then I remember there was just more than a few moments, I think, because I had taken models and units that I don't normally take. And so I'm kind of nervous, like flipping through their data sheets and hoping I'm getting it correct. So trying to remember the rules, trying to like remember what I was going to do. And it's a lot of pressure on the individual because you have all these lights. You're on center stage and you're focal point and you can see yourself on the screen. So it's like, oh, okay, I gotta like try not to look at that either, right? And but you know what? There was just a lot of like thresholds. I pushed through. I just pushed through and I pushed through. And I'm really glad I didn't blue screen hard or get like stage fright, which was kind of there, but like again, just gotta push through.
I mean, you know what? Talking about the pressure being on, I will say that green background with the big Nurgle symbol, you looked like you belonged.
Yeah, when I saw that, like my heart just warmed. I was like, ha, yes. I'm glad it was a Nurgle symbol and not just like the chaos symbol. So there's that symbol, and then I also wore a shirt with the Nurgle symbol. It was just Nurgle.
You were bringing the Nurgle from
I brought
Nurgle
the
Snurgle.
Nurg. Yeah.
But yeah, you're not like Chaos Snurgle. You're Nurgle Snurgle.
Mm-hmm. And that was the reason why I took the list that I did, just to represent Nurgle. Yes, I could have taken the Chaos Undivided Shalaxi Death Bomb, but I didn't want to go to PlayOn and wreck face. That's not the point. Like I think the point of PlayOn is to showcase the model, showcase the armies, and share a experience. Not, I need an ultimate win. That's not the point.
No, and I think one thing we kind of learned going out there, like they're all also very like top-notch players.
Yes.
But they don't necessarily play that way on the channel.
Mm-mm.
Like JT is a formidable player.
Him like being able to spit percentages just like off of the top of his head, it's like, you're a mathematician. What the?
But like they kind of talked about that. They don't play that way on the channel because it doesn't make for a good experience. So I think like you brought the right perspective, and I think Tanya did as well. And I think that's part of why it was such a beautiful game, is you didn't just like absolutely clock each other turn one and then just tried to play the game with what was left.
Yeah, what I'm noticing with like mini wargaming and PlayOn, the word meta is just not allowed.
No.
Like
I think they're aware of it.
You're saying the M word? No, not here.
Because I think at the heart of it, it's a lot of like, they want to see cool models being played by cool people doing cool stuff.
I think, honestly, if you play meta, it's easy. It's the easy way out. Like, of course, the internet's telling you what the meta is. Like, you have everybody checking the codexes and indexes and telling you this is the most powerful thing in the world. Blah blah blah. It's winning all the GTs. But you know what's hard is finding that's not meta, but also fun and fluffy, and playing with that and having a good time with that list. I think that's the key point.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think, yeah, I like the way you put that, playing to the meta is the easy way out. Because it's
Mm-hmm.
true. Well, like the last GT we played at, I did quite well with a not super meta list. Not even really meta list at all.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's so much more satisfying because it means like you've done it, not
Yeah.
the internet. And I
Yeah.
think that might be what they're going for, is they want to see players' individuality come out and shine through in every way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it was just nice to take an army that I'm sure no one's really seen on that channel, and I hope the masses can admire.
Well, having had a chance later on that day to talk to Tycho, I think the way he plays Nurgle is very different from the way you play Nurgle.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Tycho would be their kind of Nurgle stand-in most of the
Yeah.
time. I know he plays a lot of armies now, but I think his heart lies with Nurgle.
Mm-hmm. I don't blame him.
I can't imagine why.
But you know what? It was great having you there. I think having you there, I know you say that you're on my coattails, but I think definitely having you there just made me feel so much more at ease. And it was really great to have two silly gooses on the sideline giggling and laughing.
Which we were, I think JT was also happy to have me there because I
Yeah.
think he normally has to kind of just sit there quietly watching the game, and we were joking around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a very funny guy.
He is.
He's like old nerd dad jokes funny, which is like,
Keep them coming.
it's a beautiful combo. And yeah, I'm very glad that I got to go with you, and I think it'll definitely be some memories that I treasure forever.
Mm-hmm.
And
obviously we can't talk about the actual game and what happens, but I know that when it was over, it was like, I think the whole room was just like, wow. Just wow. Didn't know what to say.
It was speechless.
Yeah.
Like,
and I was exhausted and just like there's like decisions I had to make, and I was like, I don't know how to make any of these decisions. Like my brain is just working on overdrive, and it's smoking.
When I say like the end of a major, like I think the two of you looked like you just played 5 or 6 games of Warhammer, not one.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was such an intense game that like, well, I think there's a picture of us and you just look like shell shocked.
It's over.
You're like so overwhelmed, and like
yes.
Tanya looks exhausted, and I'm just like, I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, I think I said as we were looking at these pictures, and a lesson well learned: we take pictures before, after.
It's true. You were a little worse for the wear by the end of it, I think.
Well, it's not just that. It's also like we're jet lagged. We've got we're 5 hours behind. We're not getting that much sleep. It's going from here to there. It's not like sitting. I think the only times we really got to just like settle was chatting with Tack. But there wasn't like, because I'm very much, I spend a lot of time by myself or like painting and stuff. But this is like constant with people on the go, going from this place to that place, lugging luggage around that is a lot, lugging models around, and yeah. So it was a lot in those moments, but so worth it.
When we got home, like I like sat down at, like got home in the house, I like sat down on the couch at what like I was just like, wow, I haven't actually felt this way in like a week of just like, oh, there's nothing going on and it is quiet and I can just like exist in this space.
Yeah.
It was it was an intense like trip.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of equated it to like when you go to like a conference or something where you're just on for like days on end.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it was like a lot of like getting to know people and all, you're still just like, because you're so tired.
Yeah. And not only that, is the weekend before we had HellCon, and then 2 weeks before that was the GT. So it's like a month just jam-packed with things going on.
I know,
and PlayOn was like our last like hurrah.
I know I need a little bit of a break now, I think, to process everything.
Yeah. But afterwards we all got together. It was Tak, Mubin, Taiko, Tanya, Laura, and I. We went for hot pot for the first time.
I'd never done hot pot before. Had you?
No. I'd always wanted to. I did send a picture to Jarrett, and he was like, I'm so jelly. Tell me all about it. That looks amazing. What?
Well, we got to start off with the little server robot.
Oh, my little sushi cat came with me. If you've ever been to Sushi Jet in Halifax, they have these robots with trays, and they are shaped like cats. And they come to your table, and you pick up your dishes. They're wonderful. And they're singing, and they're just jiving.
They're having just the best time.
Yep.
And yeah,
meanwhile, some of them are outside smoking, like, oh man.
Well, it's still a kitchen. Like, they gotta, like...
de-stress somehow.
But no, Hot Pot was both delicious and also just, like, very social.
Yes, that's how, like, Tak opened up. Like, this is a very social event. It's you share as well. It's not like, oh, you share something completely to yourself. It's everyone digs in. And we dug in and we just talked more Warhammer. I know you and Taiko were just like on your own like hot pot.
We were having our own like he was my like hot pot like teacher.
Buddy. Yeah.
He was like
buddy
guiding
system.
me through the hot pot and just talking about like Warhammer. He's super into like he was super into like Warhammer Fantasy when he was younger, and we were just like talking about Games Workshop through the years, and like I was not expecting to have this like very in-depth conversation with Taiko. But it was absolutely wonderful. I don't even know what you guys were talking about. You guys were like on the other table. Like, you looked over a few times and I was like, we would chat for a second, and then it was just like Taiko and I.
Can I be honest? I don't remember either. I was just like, oh, food. I know that we were talking about like a lot of filming and a lot of like content and just like, I think it was just like a little bit of everything, honestly.
Yeah.
I was pretty tired.
Yep.
Honestly, I was kind of happy that it was just like, it was not that it was over, but that I was happy it was over, in the sense that, okay, I don't have to do this for any more length of time, because it wasn't just playing the game, it was the interviews, it was the capturing the movements, so it made for a long game. Everything
has to be done 2 or 3 times.
But wouldn't change that experience for the world.
Do you remember looking over to me and saying, hey, did you know there's more stuff like over on that wall there? And I was like, yeah, I've already been and gone. Like, and you were like, what?
When did you leave? I think I stared at the pot as it boiled the entire time. Like it was a cauldron, just like,
You're like, oh, it's Nurgle's plague cauldron.
Yeah. Look at the tentacles.
There was a lot of seafood. Seafood is very different out there too than it is here. It's a lot more like fish and like squid and stuff. Whereas here it's a lot of shellfish.
Yeah. Very much so.
I mean, hot pot with like some scallops and clams would also be delicious, but
yeah.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, that'd probably be. I don't know if I'm on board with prawn over shrimp. Prawn are like a complicated shrimp that I was struggling with.
Yeah, because it had the face and all.
Yeah. The face didn't, but it was like, how do you actually like pull it apart easily?
You,
I was struggling a bit.
you ate the tail too, right?
I ate a lot of stuff that I don't know if I was supposed to or not. I don't know. I was like,
You
hey,
said
what are you supposed to eat of the prawn? They're like, you can eat the whole thing if you want. I was like, I don't know if I want to eat the head, but I definitely ate parts of the shell.
which
And
is probably the worst part.
I was like, I don't know what I'm doing here, man.
Just
This is
following
stressing
suit.
me out. But yeah, the fish was delicious. I had a lot of vegetable. Actually, somehow like the way potatoes turned out in it was so good.
It soaked up all that broth.
So much food.
Yeah.
And I never felt disgusting though. I feel like because there's also so much walking around and like it was just all I did was eat and mostly I did a lot of eating. And, like there was a lot of eating.
Yeah. I know a lot of people are probably like, just talk about PlayOn, but honestly, we can't talk a lot about PlayOn. But we can share like how we felt about it and stuff. But we do have some ideas that doing a watch party.
Yes.
So that will be announced.
I want to see your reaction to it because I feel like I got to watch it already.
I'm not ready for that.
Yeah.
I'm not ready.
We're gonna get like 30 seconds in, and you're gonna see these like beautiful pictures of your models. You're gonna be like, oh, "I didn't know they look so good."
We can end it here.
Check. No, it was. I'm super excited. I think a watch party will be a lot of fun. We'll do a Chaos Divided watch party. Yeah. So once we know when it's coming out, I don't know if we even know ahead of time if it's coming out, or once it comes out, we'll set that up.
I did ask like the editing process. They said 2 to 3 weeks, and they had already started like the next day. Like they are like no slack at PlayOn Tabletop. They're
nose to the grindstone.
Yes.
Well, I didn't really realize like I've been watching them for a long time, and I didn't really realize how frequent a release schedule they'd gotten up to. Like I don't know if that had actually like occurred to me. And like there's what they say, it takes 50 hours to get a video ready. Like that's a lot of time and energy for someone to put in. So yeah, I guess they gotta be on the ball because like if not, it'll never happen.
I just looked at the editor, and one of the last things I said to him was like, good luck. Because that's 9 hours snuck into 40 minutes. And
it was a complicated game. I don't envy them having to figure out how to tell that story in 40 minutes. I watched it happen in real time and I didn't understand what was going on sometimes. Like hour 5 and I'm like, I still don't know exactly what's happening. Actually, one of my favorite moments was when Tak came over to like watch look at the screen. And he just like stands there silently with his arms crossed.
Yeah, I think one of his hands like hit his chin for a moment, like, And
then he looked over at us, and he was just like, "What's going on?" And we're like, "I gotta start."
So you're saying we left an impression on Tak?
I think you did. I think we made an impression on him.
Hopefully a good one.
And then so then Tuesday, you also had another very nice day.
Yes, I got to see my mom and my brother and her boyfriend. So she lives in Alberta, and then my brother lives in BC because we're originally from BC. So it was a really nice thing to do with her. It was her birthday as well, so it's just like it wasn't just a PlayOn Tabletop trip. It was also a family trip, and hadn't seen her in a couple of years, so it was just like, it was so good. So good. Just walked through everybody was asking me, what time are you guys getting together? Don't know. What are you guys gonna do? Don't know. What time are you coming back? Don't know. It was just, and I think I really enjoyed that because we could just kind of decide as we go, and nothing was planned and nothing was like set up or anything. It's just like, let's go with the flow and just enjoy our company. That's my only main goal, was to enjoy each other's company. And we went to Van Dusen Botanical Gardens, and that was very lovely just to walk around. Beautiful day. Like, prior to going to PlayOn, we looked at the forecast and it showed rain the entire time. And Laura brought her sweet umbrella that she never even used.
Okay, because rain in Vancouver is not like when it rains here, it rains.
Yes.
And like it rains a lot here, so it rains a lot, like overall. But like Vancouver's just this like spitting, dripping rain a lot of the time. So it'll
Yeah.
be like, oh, it's gonna rain today, but it'll just like for 4 hours, it'll just be like doot 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 doot. Like I don't know,
Yeah.
it's weird.
It rains more per volume here than in Vancouver.
But I think it just like is always a little bit raining there.
Yeah. But we had fantastic weather though. We had, on that Tuesday, was clear blue skies.
Mm,
It was
I know.
wonderful.
I saw the sun.
Yeah. We saw the sun throughout though. I don't think
A
there was
couple, yeah. There was times you were like, "Oh, look, the sun is coming." Oh no, cloud.
but there wasn't a day where it was like, oh, like we have to stay indoors. Like we can't go
No.
outside at all. So we did the botanical gardens, and then we went to Brentwood Mall, which was kind of depressing. I don't know. It was just a really weird mall. You walked in and there was like nothing. Um, I think they were working on the mall, but then took my mom to like a pubcade, which is like an arcade with alcohol. And, just went on to some rides, and it was really sweet to see um, my mom and her boyfriend at the age that they are just having fun and feeling like a kid again, and trying to like get big stuffies with like the claw machine, and going on like car rides that like jerked around. And my mom really wanted to do the motorcycle, so I was like, yeah, let's go ride a motorcycle. And it was just really great to hear her laugh. And then went to like a Chinese food restaurant with my brother, and it was great to spend time with the big family. And then said some really hard goodbyes. It was really hard, but I said to my mom, because one of the nice things was TAC offered, like my mom and Ron could come by the studio. So I show up at the studio with them, and I'm looking around before I let them in, looking for Tack, and Tack and Laura are nowhere to be found. But I asked Nick, and I was like, Tack had mentioned, is this okay? And he said, yeah, it's okay. So I was able to show my mom and Ron around the studio, and they were just floored by everything. They know nothing about Warhammer except for what they see, what I post. And they're just like, just wow. And then I was able to share my models with them that they've never seen either, only through online. And that was very heartwarming that I could share that with her. And so when I was saying my goodbyes, I just looked at her and said, like, this is everything I've been working towards. That I had this opportunity to travel, but then to also during the travel to see her. And I just said that I was so very happy. And yeah, that was my moment with my mom. And she can see that I'm very happy.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. It's awesome. And then went back into the house and finally found you and Tack. But I guess I should also mention in the morning, food, of course. We went to a lovely donut shop called Donut Love. And kid you not, you can watch people make these donuts. And I don't know if you caught on, but the man that was making the donuts looks like Steve Joel. And if you know who Steve Joel is, he does like a lot of podcasts with Warhammer content. He used to do 40K Today, I believe that's what it's called. So we found Steve Joel's doppelganger, and he's making donuts. And they look like lovely donuts. I really wanted one. That's the only
I know
regret.
you didn't have one.
That was my only regret, was not having one.
I mean, my day ended up being very much about donuts, so.
Yeah. How was it about donuts, Laura?
Well, so after we go to the donut place, we go back to the studio. They're working on a top secret project, so I won't spoil that.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe I'll watch it, and if not, I might wander around, go do some stuff, hang out, whatever. So I didn't have any grand plan. We bring the donuts in, and there's like a little bit of a mess left in the kitchen. So someone tidies up the kitchen and throws out Tack's donut.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Tack is he's not so much celiac, but he can't have gluten. So these are gluten-free donuts, especially not made for him, but like packaged for him and Tycho.
Yeah. So
what was the look on his face?
I was upstairs. He came up and he was like, "Hey, did somebody like clean up the kitchen? Because I think our donuts got thrown out." And there's this like look of just sadness on his face. And they were like, "Oh yeah, I was just cleaning up. I didn't realize." And he was like, "Oh, that's okay. I know you didn't intend to, but now I don't get that." And I was like, "You know what? I have a mission. I have a mission today.
A private mission. You didn't say
I didn't tell anyone. It was a secret. Because Tack doesn't like gifts. It's very hard to give Tack a gift. So I was like, you know what? I think I can give Tack a gift. So first off, I look on like Google Maps and it's like, hey, it's 4 kilometers away. Nova Scotia brain me is like, 4 kilometers? I can walk that. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. It was 4 kilometers up what felt like the sheer cliff of a mountain. And I made it about 1.5 kilometers before being like, I'm gonna die if I keep going. This is also like, every time I got higher, I'd be like, oh, it's gotta level off at some point. And it didn't. No. It never would have.
No.
So I ended up getting an Uber, go back to Donut Love, buy all the gluten-free donuts they have left, because I'm like, I don't know what type he likes. Which was 3. Okay, it wasn't like a ridiculous amount of donuts. Bring them back, and then I like run into him, and he's like, "Oh, I need to eat lunch," and I was like, "Well, I brought you a present," and he's like, "I don't like presents." And I was like, "Well,
well, you're gonna like this present."
I was like, "Well, I went and got you some donuts," and he was like, "Oh, you didn't need to do that," and I was like, "No," but I was like, "I saw you were sad that like you weren't gonna get one, so I got you some." And he was like, "Okay." And then we just like stood there. He ate lunch while we like chatted, and got to like chat with Tack for like an hour, and then he like went off to work, and I ended up just kind of like wandering around where the area that the studio's in, and went and grabbed like a coffee, and came back a little bit later and ran into Tack again, and he was like, "Oh, they're still upstairs like filming. I think they're gonna like go out for dinner afterwards, or I'm gonna go grab something to eat." And I was like, "Okay." And he's like, "Do you want to come with me?" And I was like, I don't want to intrude. Like, you've been so like generous already. Like, I don't want to like unless like if you want me to, sure. And he's like, "Well, like if you'd like to." And I was like, "Okay, sure." So I went and I went to dinner with Tack, and we just like hung out and chatted, and he's a super smart guy. Just absolutely wonderful. And we got to talk about business. Both like kind of like nerded out about business and talked about a bunch of things. He wanted a cheeseburger, so we went to this like big restaurant, and I got this like fried chicken salad thing that was super good. That one, you know what, that meal wasn't about the food, that was about the company, and just getting to like talk to Tack and just hang out with him, and was like super it was really great. And he's like, for someone who is as driven and like purpose focused as he is, he's also very like generous with his ideas. And I feel like I asked him some questions that he appreciated. Like, I feel like we were like making each other think, which was kind of like, I feel like I think that's a gift he doesn't always get, is like when other people challenge him and make him think about things in different ways. So it was just absolutely it was wonderful. And then we ended up going back to his place, and then like you and Tanya started streaming in, but up until that point, we were just like absolutely like shooting the breeze, talking about a bunch of different stuff. So I don't want to like break into those conversations because they were like,
yeah, that's ours.
Yeah, but
I think like obviously going to PlayOn, didn't know what to expect, but you could generally say, oh, we're just gonna go play a battle report. Didn't know we were gonna come back with like glowing friends and like fond memories and not even really have it centered to be around the battle report.
No, I feel like we talked about Warhammer. Like Warhammer like weaved its way through.
Glue? Was Warhammer the glue?
Warhammer was the glue, Kaylee. But yeah, it wasn't really about Warhammer. It was about like getting to know new people, and like it was kind of like everything I hoped like Chaos Divided would be when we started it, like a way to like bring people together in new and interesting ways. And then like I kind of saw how PlayOn does that. Is like when we talked to Dr. Ryan, like he was so excited about PlayOn because I think it's a way for him to like share and connect with people in different and unique ways. And I think like we got to also see that. It was just wonderful. I don't know. I'm running out of adjectives here because I'm like
wonderful, great, incredible.
It was, you know what, I will say it was somewhat life-changing to go there.
Yeah, I think that was one of the things I said to you, because you used to tease me about having my religious experience going to mini wargaming. Now you have also had your religious experience at PlayOn.
But I feel like you also did. I feel like you also got to have this like very spiritual talk. Like we got to like do it together. You were just maybe more prepared for it.
Yeah. I think it was more like it finally put the last stone together. Like, man, this is exactly where I want to be. And I'm looking so forward to the future, whatever that looks like. Does it end with PlayOn? Hell no. Like, I want to get... Yes. It's the journey. Yeah.
No, it was and yeah, I said this in the first part, like the being just like around such like passionate, caring people that are so creative and like engaged is truly like it's invigorating to like your own creativity. Like I came out of it with like so many ideas for so many different things. Like I think we are so inspired now about like where Chaos Divided is going, but even just outside of that, like there's so many other things that I'm like, oh, I have like 300 ideas in my head now that I'm just like need to start working through. And that's like a gift beyond value to be to have that.
I think it's through the stories that we shared with TAC and like kind of how PlayOn came together, it kind of just gave ease that you can make anything as long as you put your mind to it. Because of the dedication and the devotion, it's really neat to see where that can take you. Yeah.
There's a lot of planning that goes into PlayOn, which is like not unsurprising based on like the quality of what they're putting out. But there's a lot of planning, and even like...
But at the core of it, like even TAC shared some stories about other people trying to develop high production videos with like the D&D story, but when it came to putting it online, they had very low viewer count because the substance wasn't there. PlayOn has that substance. They have, like, when you think of PlayOn, you know about Tycho, you know about Movin, you know about TAC or Space Marine Steve, like or Nick. They've created these, I don't want to say personas because that's kind of separating them from the person, but I
think they are personas to some extent though, because it's not like Tycho on PlayOn isn't Tycho just walking around. I think it's like it's them pushed further. It's them bigger.
True. And then when you get to meet them in person, you're like, oh man, you are an incredible person.
It's nice to know that nice people are actually nice.
Yeah.
Like it just like kind of warms your heart a little bit to know that like the world is actually a little bit nicer than you think it is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then yeah, so that was Tuesday, and then Wednesday.
Well, we had like the TAC discussion till like what 1:00 in the morning. Oh, we gotta go.
Oh, and the cake! He got us a cake.
Did he get that for us though?
Yeah, he got two.
Okay.
Remember?
Yeah, I remember him saying, "Oh, I got a cake that I can't eat." But that was a delicious cake. It was a matcha cake with red bean in the center. Oh, my two favorite things. How did you know, TAC? How did you know?
He knows you better than you know yourself.
Oh, what am I thinking, TAC?
And then, yeah, we hung out and with TAC until like 1 in the morning. And then didn't you guys all like you and Tid? Because I fell asleep.
Yeah, we stayed up till like still like 2, 3. It was a slumber party.
It honestly it was like an adult Warhammer slumber party.
Yeah.
At TAC's house.
Loved it.
Well, because we also found out that TAC is dad.
Yeah. TAC is dad. And then when TAC's not around, then Mubin steps in as
he's like assistant to the dad.
Yeah.
And JT is mom.
And how many times did they ask me? Twice? Do you want to be CEO of PlayOn? I was like, oh, I didn't know the job was open. And then the second time, you want to be CEO after the game? I was like, sure, let's do it. And then they never asked me again.
Right? They're like, this isn't how the joke works. You're supposed to say no.
Yeah, you're supposed to be so afraid of this workload that you don't want it. I'll take it.
Well, TAC asked me at one point. He's like, "Hey, do you want to do battle reports?" And I was like, "I don't think so." And he's like, "Good answer."
For Chaos Divided.
Yeah, I was like, I like how much I like Warhammer right now, and I feel like doing battle reports all the time would diminish that.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I kind of like where we're at with it and how we can still feel about the hobby and the game and everything, because it's not, we don't have to perform Warhammer.
Yeah. And like, oh, the new codex is out, let's do it. And like, oh, there's a new data slate, we have to do it. Like, power to them, to the people that can do battle reports as their career.
It's hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot.
I think for us, like once in a while, just like as a fun thing, yes.
Yeah.
I'd rather be a guest for a battle report rather than produce it.
Yeah, I fully agree. And I think getting to see how it's done at like the highest level really kind of just like sent that home for me, that you can't, like, it takes so much to do it well.
Not just for two of us, yeah. It's a whole team, and it has to be everybody needs to be on board for. Well,
like every episode of 40K in 40 minutes, I think it's at least 5 or 6 people for not insignificant amounts of time.
Mm-hmm.
Like for 2 people to try and produce it, even half of what PlayOn's doing would be a nightmare.
Yeah.
So.
Good job, guys. You
Bravo. Golf clap. So yeah, no, it's super impressive, and I think it's given me an appreciation even further as to like what they do is like top notch.
Yeah, and they're obviously very aware that they are top notch, and I think they are very appreciative of like their hard work as well, because they've seen the elevation of Warhammer battle reports, and there's no denying that they're the ones that elevated that.
Oh yeah, and even like I don't think they've elevated it enough for where they want to be.
I know, it's like, you guys want to do more?
They're like, we're not
there yet.
There's a more to this runway.
Okay, we're here to watch it. So yeah, keep your eyes glued to PlayOn, because they ain't done.
Which is just really cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
And then yes.
And then we had Wednesday morning.
Wednesday morning.
Yeah. So it was. So yeah. Yeah. So like I said in the open episode, um, didn't quite know what to do with my models. Right after the game, everybody wants to pack up and go, right? And the table's just there. So they're like, no, leave it for Nick. He's gonna do cinematics. It's like, okay. And then like, how am I gonna get my models back at like a timely manner? Because our time's ticking at this point of like how long we're gonna be in BC, and I don't know like how long I'd be with my mom. If that's gonna be the full day, and obviously like there's people who are generous enough to say like, oh, I'll pack it for you. But my thought is like, I don't have the most usual models to pack. It's not the easiest thing. Like even Blood God has like not gone after me, but he's like, you should probably pack these a little bit better. And so those thoughts are racing through my mind, and I don't remember who said it. If it was you, DM me because I want to remember it was you. Maybe it was JT, but it was They put it perfectly. They're like, is packing your models like a puzzle, and only you know how to do it? I was like, yes, that's exactly it. I'm like, okay. And so, they were put aside, and then waited until Wednesday morning. And I was gonna go in early with Tack to pack my models, and we decided to take all of our stuff with Tack to the studio, and I packed my models, and we had full intention to grab an Uber and go to the SkyTrain and take us straight to the airport. So packed up all the models, went into Tack's office, knocked on the door, and was like, "Okay, Tack." We had a couple hours, so we were like, "Is there like a place along this street that we can go eat?" And he was like, "Yeah, there's like a Ricky's, but if you want to wait 15 minutes, I'll take you." I'm like, "Are you sure? I don't want to like take you out of your work." He's like, "No, I'll take you for some pancakes, Danish pancakes, Dutch pancakes. I don't know what they were, but sure, okay, that's fine." And then he kind of saw like all of our luggage. He's like, "You're gonna go on the SkyTrain with all of that?" Oh yeah, we did it coming here. Like, how do you think we got here?
Right.
He's like, "I'll just drive you to the airport. I gotta do some grocery shopping." Anyways.
We're like, no, Tat, like you've been like so generous. Like, no,
Yeah.
like we can go on the SkyTrain. He's like, no, it's too much. It's too much. Like,
Yeah.
I'll just take you. We're like, oh, okay.
So he's like, yeah, he takes us to New Westminster and was trying to find parking. And he like loops around, and then we go into the underground, and then we walk onto the street, and then he takes us over a bridge and then we keep walk down the bridge, turn in the corner, going along the waterfront, and we find this nice little restaurant. So it wasn't just a restaurant you can just simply park and then go and eat. It was a trek.
Right.
And what are they called? Pannikins?
It's like pankoken or something.
Yeah.
It's just a Dutch word for pancakes.
They were delicious. They were.
You want to hear a secret?
What's that?
I've made them twice since we got back.
Since you got back? Ah!
Yeah.
That's much of an impression.
Yeah. I was like, I mean, I can't even pretend to do what like Jam Cafe did. And I was like, I looked up a recipe and I've been like making Dutch pancakes.
Are they easy?
They're not that bad actually. They're a lot easier than a crepe.
Yeah.
It's like one part. So the recipe I've been doing is like 2 cups of flour, 2 eggs, 2 cups of milk with some salt, and you just like fry them in a big frying pan, and you just kind of spread it out as evenly as you can get it, and flip them, and they come out like they're thicker than a crepe.
How do you flip that?
Once you kind of get it to like, if you use enough butter, once you get it to like detach from the pan, it's one big piece. It doesn't break.
Do you have a big enough spatula?
We don't need that big of a spatula.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you could use 2 if you're really nervous about it, but
Yeah.
and
So
then
like
yeah,
these Dutch pancakes, think of like the texture of a pancake, not as thick, but as wide as a crepe, and not as thin as a crepe.
but it's like eggier and richer than a pancake. Like it's not fluffy.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like more like spongy.
And then they give you different types of ingredients on top. So I chose the Hawaiian. I chose the Hawaiian. Had my ham and my pineapple and my coconut. Yum, yum.
That looked real good.
I really wanted something sweet and savory, and that hit the spot. And then Tack had gluten-free Dutch pancake with some sausages and eggs, and then you had apples, bacon, and
There's like roasted apples, or not like grilled apples with egg and
onion
bacon.
and
But
bacon.
it was like the onion. Oh, the onion was so good.
Mm-hmm. So what kind are you making now? Now that at home?
So I literally tried to recreate the one I had.
Mm-hmm.
So I did like bacon with onion, like grilled onion and apple, and it was right. It was the apples.
The
So,
type
like,
or...
Yeah, the type of apples was like what I was struggling with, because with different apples, I was like, I devoured it.
Mm-hmm.
No, the whatever apples I'm like, I ended up going on this whole tangent with Tack about how I'm like,
You're like, I'm an
snob.
apple snob, yeah.
And I was like, because he was like, oh, because I didn't eat most of the apples, and I was like, there's nothing wrong with what they did. I just like these apples are just not very good.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like talking to him about apples for like way too long. And then I came home and I was like, I'm gonna try it. And I tried it with some better apples, and I was like, no, this is so much better. So
Well, you set such an impression on you that in between these podcasts, from the open one to this bonus, Tack messaged you. Thank you. Well, he learned so much about apples. It was worth it. And then
it was.
we're kind of like looking at the time. It's like, okay, we gotta get to the airport very soon.
Yeah.
And then we hit the highway and we're stuck in traffic.
And Tack's just like talking away, no
Yeah.
concerns in the world.
Well, he was like, I'm really sorry about this traffic. Anyways, blah 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 blah. I think he like was kind of crossing his fingers and toes, you know, like maybe they could miss a flight or two.
It was
But we made it on time.
Just on time.
Yeah.
We had just enough time to go eat some cake and get on the plane.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then we flew back. We played more backgammon.
It was super cute. We're at the Vancouver airport and we're putting our luggage on. There's this elderly gentleman and he's just sitting by the baggage and he's looking at my box, as everybody does. Like, if I want to feel
everybody looks at Nurgle Snurgle's box.
Oh. I was just about to say, if I want to feel like a hot chick getting all the glances, I'll just take my box more often. But he's like, what's in the box? And I kind of look at him coy-like. I was like, what do you think is in the box? And he goes, oh, I don't know. Medical supplies? Oh, quite the opposite. And opened my box and showed my mom. And he was like, oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
He was into it though. He was excited.
Oh, yeah.
He was asking questions.
Yeah. And even like at the end of security, they obviously checked my box, and the kid that was checking goes, oh, whoa. Oh, okay. Is there more? And I just open up the foam and he's like, oh, okay. Yeah, you're good to go. Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Imagine if you did use a great unclean one to traffic things though. No one would ever check it.
Don't! Now they're gonna check it! Because you could! Because they're hollow! No!
This is going on Patreon. I'm sure there's no border services
Hey.
people.
Hey. Apparently our podcast goes far and wide, and they know people. And their people.
No, this is a Patreon exclusive, so
yeah.
I don't know how many Patreons we have at this point. But...
Sorry, man, we gotta check your great and clean one.
Can open up that box and show your great unclean one, please?
I'm still waiting for someone to be like. There was the guy at the front desk at the hotel that kind of knew what Warhammer was, which was really cool. But even at the airport, I'm waiting for someone to be like, "Holy crap, you're Nurgle Snuggle! Oh my god!"
I mean, you'll be on PlayOn soon. Maybe that'll elevate your.
Yeah. So we kind of learned about their analytics just slightly. Like most of their videos reach over 100,000 views. Their monthly is 1.6 million. And I said to Tack, I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for 1 million.
Right?
I don't think so. I think I'm gonna have to I'm definitely gonna have to not put my notifications on that day. Oh man. If mini wargaming was a lot, oh shoot.
This is gonna be a whole.
It could be the opposite where I lose all my 10K.
There's just actually you sold out to play. Get out.
Yeah.
So all 10,000 of your followers secretly despise PlayOn with all of their being.
Yeah.
I don't think that's true.
Then what fan base am I hitting if they get 100,000?
I don't know.
You know what's next, Laura?
What?
Henry.
We're gonna jump right from PlayOn to Henry?
Well, where do we go from PlayOn?
Well, you've already gone to mini. I haven't gone to mini wargaming, so that's kind of up there.
Okay.
There's a few others. I feel like there's a few runs before.
Yeah.
Before Henry.
Henry.
Have you tried messaging him? Does he follow you?
No.
Are you sure?
Well, I don't know if he's using a burner account.
He might be.
A secret account. Be like, I really like Warhammer, but I don't want them to know that I'm following them because they'll just be in my DMs and just tell me how great I am.
Henry, tell me about your custodians.
Yeah, I want to beat you with my Nurgle. But wouldn't that be funny if he's like, "Oh, I saw you on PlayOn. You'd be great in my new Warhammer show as Nurgle Snargle." We'll make a character like a Nurgling. Oh, if they could CGI my face onto a Nurgling.
There you go. It could be a Snurgling.
Yeah.
Would it be sassy Nurgling? Is that who you'd be?
Be wassy.
Wass.
Can't be sassy. You guys would be down our throats so hard. Sassy is our thing.
But no, overall, I guess, yeah, what are your overall thoughts?
Oh, amazing. Can't wait to go back. I'm sure the invite is there. They mentioned oh, can't wait to have you back. Can't wait for the funds to the money to be there to do so. But if I lived there, I'd probably be on PlayOn as much as I could be because that was just fun. I like adding a little bit of theater to battle reports.
Yeah, I think that's really what you were nervous about the interviews, but I feel like that's where you got to kind of let some personality out.
Yeah, I'm really because the closing arguments, won't say what it was, but the reaction from JT made me feel like I hit the point.
You definitely did.
Yeah,
but no, it's true. It's the interviews are where I got to kind of see Nurgle Snurgle come out, not just Kaylee. I feel like you were taking on this bigger character.
You kind of have to.
Which is kind of cool to see.
Yeah.
I played Warhammer with Kaylee, but I don't think I've ever played Warhammer with Nurgle Snurgle.
I wonder if it's different.
I would say, because you and Tanya had a beautiful fucking game of Warhammer,
yeah.
So...
Well, I can't wait to see Blushing Noise Marine on PlayOn Tabletop.
Got my blush on.
Yeah. If you could play somebody, who would it be?
Oh, honestly, any of them. They were all a blast.
Maybe that's the question for this episode. If you were on PlayOn, who would you play against?
There we go.
And maybe you could say like someone else, because like being able to play a non PlayOn employee, though Tanya is a veteran, she's technically an employee. And then Dr. Rhino got to play his dad. So yeah, you can share. Who would you want to play on PlayOn?
I'd want to play Nerdle.
Oh, that's an honor.
There we go.
You want to play a beautiful game of Warhammer?
I would absolutely love to play a beautiful game of Warhammer. I will be sad knowing that every game of Warhammer I play will not be the most beautiful game I've ever seen.
An honor.
No.
What's your takeaway?
You know what? Warhammer is about doing cool things with cool people.
Mm-hmm.
So get out there and do cool things with cool people. I think
Yes.
that's put yourself outside of your, like, I was nervous going because, like, you know, you were invited and I was just like the +1.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I tried to just take it all in and experience it and be a part of it. And I think, you know, I ended up having some absolutely great conversations, some absolutely like fantastic moments with people. And I think it's because I was just kind of like open to having cool things happen with cool people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know?
Just letting it
like,
happen.
Yeah, like I think like talking to Tycho and talking to Tak and Mubin and like it was kind of like let them talk.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, they're the ones kind of doing a cool thing that we're not. Like, I don't make battle reports and I'm not part of PlayOn Tabletop. So just like getting to hear like their stories and what they've gone through, and like, you know, we've been kind of doing this for a little while now, but like they're much further ahead than us, and just kind of hearing those tales I've used inspiring a lot, and I'm running. Yeah, I wish I had a thesaurus with me because it made me want to be more creative in my day-to-day life.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have considered myself very creative when I was younger, and I kind of have moved away from it. And I think this was a bit of a like kick in the pants too. And I think like with the podcast, I've been working back towards it.
Mm-hmm.
But this was a like, I need to spend more of my time doing things that are creative and that I get to express myself through.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's part of my life that was missing, and that I was maybe struggling more with than I thought I was.
Mm-hmm.
Because like getting to kind of have that outlet makes you realize how much you need it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a bit like a, you know, I won't say the dam has burst at this point, but we put a crack in the dam, and you can kind of feel the relief from having a bit of the pressure.
Yes.
Coming down, and I think, yeah, I need more of that in my life, and I think that's really the gift that I didn't realize I was going to get from traveling across the country to watch a battle report being filmed, because it wasn't really about that.
No.
Like I don't, you know, I don't want to speak for you, but like that might have been what we went to do, but it's not what happened.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense.
No, that was well spoken on my behalf, because that's exactly what it was. And I love that there was. Because I like going into things with little to no expectations and just go with the flow, because that's when you just really relax and you become yourself and you just enjoy any moments that come to you. Because the moment you start having expectations and things aren't met to that, even though like things are going great, but because you have this thought of how you want it to go and it's not being met, it's that disappointment that is there. So yeah, go into things just to have fun, and if that's your sole goal, it makes it all worth it. I do want to like, we didn't talk about it, but it's kind of like a major part, not a major part, but a big part. So Laura and I, how we kept ourselves company for 8 hours in the air was playing backgammon. And that's where we learned that we like to taunt each other, banter, and
that's life.
And we're a little competitive, and it was a lot of fun. I think we played how many games?
I don't even know if I can count, because backgammon games are pretty fast. It was a lot.
Yeah, and it was just it put into like into ease of like, you know what, these classic games, chess, backgammon, especially backgammon, have these quick releases of like being competitive and
Mm.
like back and forth, and especially backgammon because it has the dice and the variable. It makes you appreciate Warhammer more, I think, as well, because you can't help what the dice do. And I'm really excited because there's a couple times during the game that the dice do some crazy things.
Yes. So you went to Welland to play chess. We went to Vancouver
Yes.
to play backgammon.
Yes.
Maybe checkers next time. Maybe some
Crib?
some snakes and ladders.
Cribbage.
Cribbage.
Yeah.
Oh, I love crib.
Yeah, me too.
You think I was competitive with backgammon?
You
Crib's
thought I was
cool.
competitive with backgammon. Backgammon's just, I can do that in my sleep.
Right, crib's a whole nother level. So.
Mm-hmm. I'll get my Jackson 5s.
Mm. But yeah, no. Actually, you know what? We did talk about it. Maybe we'll do a battle report at some point.
I love it. It's so easy. I love it. You want to see what our banter and our taunts are like? Come watch us roll some dice.
Oh. No, I feel good. And this is actually, you know what? Recording this has made me feel better. I feel like I've gotten to process it and like commit it to memory. And now, you know what? Another gift of doing this podcast is you'll always have something to go back to.
Exactly.
To kind of get back into the spirit of the feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah. Any other thoughts before we wrap this up?
Thank you for coming on this journey with me. You even said it that we were able to make it through this trip together and not like choke each other out. You didn't say that, but it goes to show that there's a lot of trust in the direction of this podcast.
There was when we were like flying back from Vancouver and we're like exhausted and we've been on the plane for hours and I made you like break down laughing. I was like, you know what? I think this is gonna work.
Yeah.
If like after all of this we can still make each other laugh. Like actually I think I just looked over and I showed you backgammon on my phone and you like died laughing and I was like, all right, I think this is gonna function.
Yeah.
And no, you know what? An extra special thank you. This is a Patreon exclusive, and thank you to all of you listening. This is, you know, as we continue to grow, and your support is what is kind of like pushing us to keep doing this. So, thank you so very, very much from the bottom of my Slanesh decadent heart.
And my snarkly heart.
It's much warmer, but far more toxic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Until next time. Bye-bye.
Ciao for now.